Good morning. So we are going to talk about something that most people never really want to think about. But I'm going to ask you to think about it, I'm going to ask you to talk about it, and I'm going to ask you to do something. 1 in 10 children, by the time they turn 18, will suffer some form of sexual abuse. Yet less than 1 in 10 of those kids will disclose sexual abuse as a child, because 90% of kids are sexually abused by someone that they know, love, and trust. And every day in our country, almost 5 kids die from child abuse and neglect. 5 kids don't die in our country every day from juvenile diabetes, or MS, or cystic fibrosis. 5 kids don't die in our country every day from cancer. But you know what the difference is between those diseases and child abuse? Child abuse is 100% preventable. You don't need to beat or rape or sodomize your kids. You don't need to do that. To give you a perspective, if you have a daughter, your daughter is just as likely to be sexually abused as a child as she is to get breast cancer as an adult. Wrap your head around that fact for a minute. Think about what we know and how far we have come when it comes to breast cancer. The fact that we can say the word breast and people not go, ooh, but we're worried about saying vagina or penis? Think about that. Think about the fact that there is not a soul in this country that doesn't know what the pink ribbon stands for. But do people know what the blue ribbon stands for? You all have one in your bag. The blue ribbon is the symbol for child abuse awareness and education and prevention. I have a 12-year-old son. He's a sports freak. What's Jonah? That's his name. What's Jonah's favorite color? It's hot pink. Why is that? Because Jonah loves football. Jonah every Sunday watches football, and if I allow him to stay up Monday nights or Thursday nights, he's always trying to negotiate that, but every Sunday he's watching football. And in October, guess what every football player is wearing? Hot pink. Imagine a world, imagine us, if in April, every Major League Baseball player was wearing a blue ribbon or highlighted their uniforms in navy blue to show us, show the world how prevalent this issue is. Because once we know about it, once we educate ourselves, then we can start taking action. That really is what this is about. We have got to get to a point where we talk about it. We have to be able to say to our friends and our families and our colleagues and our neighbors and our people that we go to worship with, we've got to talk about this issue openly. We can't be embarrassed and ashamed. We can't continue to bury our heads in the sand or sweep it under the rug. I told you earlier, 1 in 10. That means there's about 15 people sitting in this audience. This is very personal for. And if I had to take a guess, it's more than 15. And if I had to take another guess, there are people sitting in this audience that they've never told a soul. And the reality is this. I would also take a guess that while this is personal for 15 of you, or maybe more, I'll bet you everybody in this room knows someone who's been sexually abused. You just don't know it because people don't go with a stamp on their forehead talking about it. We have got to talk about it. And when we talk about it, we have to talk to our children, right? So what we can't be doing is being ashamed or ooh, I don't want to use those words. We have to be able to say penis and vagina. Penis and vagina, and know that that's okay. Because how are we going to expect kids to talk to us if something happens to them and they don't even know how to articulate it? How are we going to do that? The other thing we can all do is we're going to educate ourselves. There's an organization called Darkness to Light. It's based out of South Carolina. They have what we call the Stewards of Children curriculum. It's 2 hours. It is the most nationally recognized child sexual abuse curriculum in the country. 2 hours of your time to learn about the signs and symptoms of sexual abuse, how to report it, how to identify it, how to prevent it to begin with, that is so empowering, not a scare tactic, something that we can all really take action on and actually do something and possibly prevent a child from being sexually abused. 2 hours of our time, think about that. The other thing is, in our country, there are organizations called Child Advocacy Centers, CACs. And those organizations work with lots of different partner agencies to have all of a child's investigation, evaluation, and treatment services in one place, so that children are not having to tell their victimization over and over and over again, so that they're not going to the emergency room or social services or the police station and having to tell what happened. Locally here in Rochester, New York, that Child Advocacy Center is Bivona Child Advocacy Center. We've been around for 12 and a half years. We have evaluated over 16,000 children. 40% of those kids are under the age of 7. 35% of those kids are boys, and 40% of the children that we evaluate at Bivona Child Advocacy Center here in Rochester, New York, are from the suburbs. So if you're sitting there thinking, this is not my problem, this is only an inner city problem, this is just rural community problem, this is happening in our neighborhoods and our schools and our places of worship, on the sports fields, this is our problem. But we have the power to do something, because we have the power to be able to educate ourselves, talk openly about it. We can do that. The other thing I want you to do, of course I want you to take the class, of course I want you to talk about it. I want you to leave here today, after you've heard wonderful speakers, and I want you to tell 3 people what you learned. I want you to tell 3 people that the issue of child abuse is prevalent, and what is it that you can do? Get involved, volunteer, advocate, educate, donate, do something. And if you're one of the ones here sitting in suffering and silence, we are here for you. So I want you to think about it, I want you to talk about it, and I sure as heck want you to do something. Thank you.